So for anybody that's been playing Madden for quite some time now, we all know as a community that we've really been asking and pleading to EA Sports to kind of make the franchise mode a lot more in depth, from things like the draft, combines, offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, coaches that actually matter and impact the game, overall trade logic, contract logic, draft logic. I mean, how many times have we seen, a team like the Kansas City Chiefs draft a quarterback in the first round just because he's there? Obviously, that makes no sense. They would never do that. And things like this really just kind of take you out of the experience. You want to kind of immerse yourself in your Madden world, in your Madden league. And when things happen like that, it just kind of takes you out of it. But these games that I'm getting ready to show you, I think do everything that Madden 21 gets wrong in franchise mode. Let's hop into it. All right, everybody, before we start, make sure to go ahead and drop a like and subscribe. If you feel inclined, I'll be doing more videos like this whenever I find games that I think that you all would like, but also if you wanted to stick around and see some of my Madden content, sliders, franchise mode, rebuilds, career sims, all that good stuff, subscribe down below and then stay updated. All right, everybody, so the first game is Pocket GM 21, and this is the one that you do have to pay for. It is $2. But guys, I'm gonna tell you, if you're a big fan of the analytical side of Madden franchise, if you like just taking a team and getting them to the Super Bowl and doing trades, drafting players, building players up, building a team, creating a dynasty, you're gonna love this game. The great thing about this game is that there is just so much to unpack on your team and in the league itself, from stats, the player stats, the records, the Hall of Fame, the past Super Bowl champions, the contract negotiations, trades, drafts, the list goes on and on and on. The coolest thing I think that Pocket GM offers that Madden does not, one, is the in-depthness of statistics. You can go in and look at a team stats. You can go and look at those individual players. You can look at their entire careers, their stats. You can actually look at players who have already retired and look at their career stats game by game, season by season. And that's one thing that Madden really doesn't offer. And if it does offer that thing, maybe just like career stats, it's really hard to find. It's not easy to access. And guys, this game is just so awesome to play. You can do anything from actually playing the game where it's just in a Gamecast format, so you're not actually controlling the players, you just watch the game unfold. You can keep track of live stats, team stats, drive info, things like that. Or you can just simulate the game or simulate that entire week, and it'll simulate the entire NFL week. And guys, it's so much fun. As far as roster progression and depth chart goes, you have players who have normal, slow, decline if they get older. Obviously, they're going to start regressing. You have quick, you have super, which is really what you're looking for. Super is kind of like the superstar in Madden. So you have a lot of different ways that a player can progress or regress. And just because they go into decline does not mean that that player is done developing. I've had plenty of times where I've had a quarterback or a player, let's take BJ Daniels here, for instance, running back, who is in decline at 27. He'll decline for 1 year and then he'll go back to a normal development trait at the next year. So it's really cool, and it makes negotiations for contracts a lot more difficult, because if you know that player is still a decent player, so in case like BJ Daniels here, who has 2 years left on his contract, well, what if he doesn't regress after I let him go and he ends up being or improving and still being a decent quarter or running back, and I let him go? So it's really cool that they put that in there. I think that is it just makes the contract negotiations and building a franchise that much more complicated and difficult and fun, because you just never know what's going to happen with a player that you draft or sign from free agency or trade for. And speaking of trades, one of the things I do like a lot about the Pocket GM is how simple their trade system is. Whenever you're trading from a player, you simply have a point system, how much your team's going to give versus how much the other team, the team you're trading to, is going to give. And if those obviously don't match up, the trade won't work. If you give more, obviously the other team is still going to accept that, but they will not give up anything less than what you're giving. So it makes the trades really, really simple. The one complaint, there's two complaints actually I do have about this game, is that sometimes the trade system is flawed. You do get trades from other teams that you can't accept for whatever reason, because the team offers the trade, but the system knows it's not a equal or even trade, so it won't let you accept it. And then the only other thing that I have to say about the game is I would love a little bit more customization. So maybe changing uniforms, changing players' names, team names, things like that. But other than that, this game is phenomenal. And the biggest thing that I can give you about why this game is so much fun and why it's better than Madden franchise is that coaching matters. Coaching matters. So there are actually development traits and skill traits for each coach, from the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, from the head coach, from your physio guy, your trainer, or from your scout. And these things matter. If your coaches don't align with the same schemes from your defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator, then your team will suffer. They will not perform as well. But also each coach has a specific trait that makes them play harder on third downs or makes a player take advantage of a team's weakness. And it is so much fun to see that. It's such a simple thing that we have not seen being input in Madden that can be a complete game changer and make Madden franchise so much more fun. And it's cool to see that a mobile game for $2 has it in here. Guys, I hope you enjoy that game. It's $2 well spent, but let's get into the free game that I think is still just as much enjoyable. And I would put 2 on this list for a reason, because it's just not as depth from a franchise mode goes, but you can actually play the game. So let's hop into that one. All right, so the next game is called Retro Bowl, and I love this game. Now it's very different than Pocket GM 21. This is an 8-bit game where you only control up to 10 players on a roster. All the other players, the computer controls, you don't have to worry about that. All you have to focus on are 10 players, and you can update the game to get a few more features for $2. So for $4, you could get 2 phenomenal games, support the developers of the games, and give them the ability to make these games into something that's so much more special. But let's just go into this. With Retro Bowl, you have, again, 10 players, and their attributes aren't as in-depth. You really have, so for a quarterback here, let's go to Meek Compton. You have 4 different things that you keep track of, and each player only has 4 traits. For the quarterback, you got throw accuracy, arm strength, speed, and stamina. For a running back, you have catching, strength, speed, and stamina. And that also goes for tight ends and wide receivers. And then for defensive players, you got tackling, strength, speed, and stamina. So really most of these are the same, only their skill-specific attributes change. And for each player, these attributes are completely different. So there's not as in-depth team management with this, but it is still fun. It's very light. So if you don't really enjoy a lot of the GM processes, developing a team, developing players, going through the draft, you're going to enjoy this because you only have to worry about 10 players. And then the cool thing is when you do end up playing the game, you can actually control the team, the offense. You don't have to control the defense. You're only scoring points. And that makes it, I think, more fun because we know that the NFL now is such geared around the offense. You only have to worry about your defense. But my one complaint about this game is because you're not controlling the defense, it does get a little bit frustrating because it seems like you just, whatever you do, you can't control the other team from scoring. And maybe that's their way of making the game competitive. And I do know if you play this thing on the hardest difficulty there is, good luck. I was not able to win a game for 2 straight years, and maybe I just suck at it. So I had to play on the hard difficulty. I think playing on dynamic is all fun, but it still seems to be kind of easy because on dynamic mode, if you play a really bad game, it's going to drop its difficulty. Then if you turn around and play a good game, it's going to increase it. So you're always going to have kind of this, obviously dynamic difficulty setting. And, you still want to be able to lose against, or have the ability, at least in my eyes, to lose against bad teams, because in the NFL, obviously that happens. Disparity is what makes the NFL so great. But really, this is a really fun game. It's an 8-bit game. You also get really cool front office decisions from increasing your salary cap. You can increase your stadium, which increases fan interest, training facilities, which obviously help improve your players, and then rehab facilities that prevent them from being hurt. And there's only 3 rounds in the draft. So these are 2 very different games. One that you can actually play the game, and you don't have to worry about a lot of GM responsibilities, only controlling 10 players. There's only a 3-round draft. It's a lot more simple. And then you have Pocket GM where you can play the game. It's very analytical. You have to really focus on trying to develop a strong team. I haven't even been able to win a Super Bowl, and I'm in like year 15 of that. I've made the playoffs probably half the time, and it's so fun. And I think that both of these games can offer something to each type of Madden franchise player. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you get something out of it. I hope you end up playing these games. Like I said, I've played Pocket GM 20, 21, Retro Bowl. They continuously update it. They listen to their community. And it's just a really, really fun game, fun experience. And it's just something to play, you know, in passing. You know, you still can play Madden franchise, but throw these into the mix. And I promise you, you spend $2 to get these 2 games. And even if you don't want to spend the other 2 on Retro Bowl to support the developers, which I think you should, you're still going to really, really enjoy it, and it's going to be totally worth your time. Guys, if you enjoyed this, if you enjoyed the content, if you've played these games and like it, make sure to like down below, subscribe. Let me know down in the comments which one out of your 2 you think you would like the most. My personal favorite, Pocket GM 21. But that is it for me. Floopy Donkey out. I'll catch you later. Peace.